Hey, it's Hot 937, Big Reg and Buck, man, the morning show. A good friend of the station. She came here, I think maybe 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago you came through? And you
I
played some
did.
tunes
It's
for us?
crazy. It's been 2 years already. I think it might have been almost three, but
Listen,
somewhere around there.
we don't count last year because that was the whole thing. That doesn't exist. That COVID year doesn't exist. So it's automatically 2 years ago you was here.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Welcome back. And you got a new album out. Congratulations.
I do. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all the support, of course, always. Like you always hold it down for me and, let me come on the show. And then also big shout outs to Michi. He's been super supportive also. So
yeah. We don't allow too many DJs to come up here and touch these turntables. We don't allow that.
No, and you let me even like take over.
Yeah,
like,
we don't do that.
2 years ago when I was here.
I think we had Flex do it one time. We had DJ Premier do it one time.
Right? Premier and Flex, those the only two.
And you. So that's it.
I'm in great company. Company.
Because there's a bunch of DJs here, and we're very particular about who we choose to touch.
No, I get it. I understand. I totally get it. I appreciate it.
Test. DJing is a gift to people who have, and you've been DJing for a long time. And when people first see you and they say she's not a DJ, she's just another pretty face. How many times do you get that? What do you say?
It's crazy. I got it so much when I first started. I actually was telling somebody a story the other day about how, I remember it was like a club night that I had just started. And I actually like walked in, tried to like go in, and they thought I was the bartender.
Oh, did they?
And then one night I actually had to like leave the club to grab something, and I couldn't even get back in because they were like, "No, you're lying. Go to the back of the line." I'm like, literally, my song is playing. The music will stop if you do not let me back in the club. Like it's crazy. Like they like nice try, but. I'm like, as I've grown, it's changed.
What the hell club's gonna send you to the back of the line? That's what I want to find out. Where were you at?
Exactly.
I can't even remember where it was. I think I was in.
You might have got a bus fired.
Yeah, I'm originally from Virginia. I was super young, and I just had my backpack, and I was like ready to go. And they were like, "Nice try." Also, we got to search your bag, and I'm like,
"Hey, Megan." How did you get started in DJing as a female? What got you interested in being a DJ?
So I was in college like super early. I was 16 when I started college, right? And I had never been to a club party situation, obviously, because I was like not old enough. So I remember going in for the first time. I used my college ID. Because that's all you had to. I was like, if they ask me for my real ID, they're not going to let me in. Yeah, they're going to let me in. So I remember waiting in line. And I was like, oh man, I'm about to get like sent back to the dorm. Like they're not going to let me in. I get in, and I remember I was looking for the voice that I heard in the speakers, but it wasn't the music. It was the DJ. And I looked around, and I remember I saw him, and he played. I want to say he played Pastor Troy, like played in GA or something like that. And everyone started fighting, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so like I brushed to like the side of like the wall.
Right.
And then I just watched, and he didn't look stressed out.
No.
He played Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song.
Calm him down.
And it's almost like everybody forgot they were fighting. And then just started, this is so real. And I was like, that is magic, and I want to do that.
That's funny to see that.
That's how it started.
That's funny because as a DJ, Reg, as a host too at the parties, there are certain songs that we know somebody's chain's getting snatched. Oh, we know.
Do you remember? It was like those. I used to tell people, like, do you remember when like Lil Jon music used to make people fight? And people act like that's not a thing. And I'm like, his music used to make people brawl, and you already knew, like you knew.
Up here. Mobb Deep. You play Mobb Deep, you know something going on.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, because I was in the South during this time. I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, Mobb Deep. But then after that, the DJ would play a slow song.
Yeah.
To get everybody chilled out. Be like, the party ain't over, because normally you play those at the end of the night.
Right.
You have to play a slow song, get everybody calm, and then
turn the lights on, and everyone's like.
and for me, when I want the club to be over, when the party's going too long, I want to get everybody out of there. I throw on some hard rock and roll. Oh, we got to.
Oh, and then everybody leaves. It's like time to go. You're like, I'm done. Time to go. Yeah, those are the tricks that people don't realize. Now we're telling all of our tricks.
We got to be quiet. All right, no more. Now the new album, you got a lot of people on this album. How did you get these people to come to the table and say, "Hey, Megan, I'll do this for you"?
It was a lot of work, but to be honest, most of the if I might have reached out to a couple more people who didn't end up making the project just because of timing, but I'm super honored and super blessed that it was like a mutual respect thing that I the first artists that I looked and I checked for are the ones that I had, great relationships with, and then mutually, like, you grow with these artists as they grow within their career. So there are artists that I've either, known for a while or some that I've met, more recently. And there may have been, I think, only 2 artists on the project that I didn't know right away or I reached out to. Like, I have a record with Young M.A. and Skilly Bang, and I didn't know Skilly Bang personally, but I was in Jamaica and kept hearing Brick Pon Brick, which was huge. Like, had that COVID year not have happened, that record would have been
out of here.
So I was in Jamaica and all I kept hearing was gas station, Brick Pon Brick, store, Brick Pon Brick. I was like, I looked for his peoples on Instagram and I just reached out. Like, I'm not afraid to ask. Like, if you're afraid to ask, you're not going to get anything done. The what's the worst you're going to do is say no, So exactly. He was like, yo, you're supporting me. I support you. Let's do it. And at the time that was his first international collab too with Young M.A., and Young M.A. is super dope. And just for her to be able to be like, yeah, Meg, like, let's do something different. That's what she told me. She was like, I want to do a record that I don't normally do or that people don't normally hear me on. So it was great to be able to get, have that kind of like, respect and understanding with the artist for them to allow me to, to be able to make this project.
That Skilly Bang introduction was the best thing you could have did. He's the hottest thing in the streets.
He is crazy. I know, crazy. I want to shoot that video. I'm trying to get it figured out. I'm trying, but obviously this COVID stuff and regulations. You want to make sure that everyone's okay, even though we're opening up. It's still going to Jamaica and all that. So I want to try to figure it out. But he's great, and I know his future is. he's out of there.
And you got one of my other favorite guys. You got my man Cranium on this Fly record.
Yes.
That boy can sing. He can drink. He can sing and he can drink. He literally did. We had another version. Like, that song was a few versions. And, as DJs, we have the DJ ears. So sometimes it's like, you'll do something. Like, how I started making records is I would, like, songs that were out. You remember when you used to always get, like, the acapellas and instrumentals for every song? Everything.
So I would, everything. Now not so much, but you used to get it for everything. So I used to create my own records, like my own versions of songs. So I would take, like, a verse. Yeah, and I would take an acapella from one song and I would put it on a completely other song, and I'd be like, he would have sounded better on this song, so I would put him on that. And then
you got a better version.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's the version that I'm playing, right? That's my version. I'm playing this version. So I was doing that same thing with my songs, like, on accident. Like, so I would have a song and it would be done, and then I'd be like, man, like, now I kind of want to, like, change the beat, or I want to add someone else. So Fly was a completely different record, and Cranium sang similar lyrics, but kind of different. And we actually got into a little bit of an argument about it. I called him and was like, new beat, same song, but I think I want you to change the lyrics. He's like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I think I need you to. So he went back in, but what's crazy is he doesn't write stuff down. He did it in 5 minutes. He did hit the hook in 5 minutes. And it's one of my favorite songs on the project.
The hot record.
Like, hands down. Yeah, hands down. 5 minutes. I was like, he did it. He was like, I'm going to call you right back. Because we was on FaceTime. Calling back, and he did it. And I'm like, no.
And as a DJ, I want the other version now.
Yeah, no, I know. I should send it to you. Ferg is on that version too. ASAP Ferg is on a different version.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. I have a. I don't know. I should send it to you just to see what you think about it. It's a different beat. It's a little. He still does the fly. Fly you want to fly, but then he says something. He goes pick and choose. So it actually was called pick and choose instead of fly. And then Ferg is on it. And I had like but then it turned into this, and it's just,
I love the Casanova.
I gotta send it to you. Yeah,
I love the Casanova
so
on it, but the situation is kind of crazy with Casanova. I love him on the song, but I mean, he can't. If he was out, he can probably promote it. He would promote this record a lot. And now the situation is what it is. But the record is hot, though. The record's hot.
He sounds great on it, and I had the opportunity to talk to him too, and he says he hears it because he hears it a lot. So it's. I know he has everything that's going on with him, but just to be able to still, go through with this, and for him to be able to hear it, means a lot to me, because he's always, anytime I ever needed anything, he pulls right up, so I appreciate that. And I will always appreciate him for sure.
What made you want to start making records?
I think it was from me. Well, it started when I was making my own, but then what I realized is I would link a lot of people, right? So I would link people to make songs together, and I would never get any credit for
it. And you would have plugged.
Right?
You would have plugged.
Yeah, I would be the plug. And then also I would have labels call me and stuff like, and I used to make Inca from Inca's at Sony. Yeah, I used to make him so mad because he would like send me a project, and I would pick the single that I think was good, not the single that they were working. And he would be like, "We are not on this." I'm like, "This is the better one." 2 weeks later, they would call me and be like, "We changed it." But I told you. So I realized that I had like an ear for that, and I would start working with artists like super early, like. Young Blue, I had a record with Blue in 2019. And obviously at the time, Blue's fan base was out of control. But he hadn't moved up here yet, so I did a record with him early, him and Joey Badass and Aaron Ray in like 2019. Then we have the record with him and Wyclef on my project. And he's just, he's out of there. So I would hear stuff kind of like early on, or early for, where we are, and be like, these artists are dope. And so I was like, what? I just need to do this. I could get it done. I just need to do it. Why not? Like, I need to do it. It's a lot of work though, but it might've been the hardest thing I've ever done in my career, to be honest.
Really?
It was a lot of work.
I was going to say, did you have any reservations doing it where you like, okay, this is going to be a lot of work? And then also as a female, you don't see many female DJs doing what you're doing, which makes it even doper. Did you have any reservations? Like, I don't even know if I want to fight this fight.
I'm trying to think how many times I quit. 13, 14. I was like, I quit. I'm done. 20 minutes later, man, I still got this other record I got to get done. And it's not a personal thing, but people forget, like, if you're interested, to anybody that's listening, if you're interested in putting out a project, whether it's, whether you're an artist and you're putting out a project, or you're a DJ and you're putting out a project, it's not just you, and it's definitely harder for DJs, because, if you're an artist, you don't even have to have features. You could do your own stuff. But when you're a DJ, like, my whole process is collaborative. So I have to have the support from the artist, and you have to have the supports before you drop it and then after. And then, so imagine you make the songs, right? This is the stuff that you don't see. You just see Khaled's magic, but you don't see what it took for the magic to come out, And so I give him a lot of credit. I don't understand how he's done this 13 times he's done this? Yeah. I don't have any idea. I don't, so
well, probably 10 of the 13, he was quitting and pulling his hair out too.
Yeah, right. I've seen him. I've been somewhere with artists where he's been blowing up their phones. So that's not a lie. Like, you have to do that because they have their own stuff too. So imagine when he's like, the verses and you get the verse, right? You get the song done. You still got to clear the song.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to deal with the managers and stuff to come with the terms. That's the first thing. And then you got to clear it. I didn't get my album cleared until all of it until 2 hours before I put it out.
That's it?
2 hours before. And I lost one record, and it was me. It's all about your personal relationship. So I was on the phone with labels like, where's my paperwork? Because you don't want to get like, mind you could, but you don't want to fight those battles. You don't want to label it to you and be like, take it down right now. So you have to get things cleared and things done. And it was like, I lost some hair. I don't know if you could tell, I got a lot of it, but I lost some hair, but I'm super, just proud of the project and proud, of the fact that I was able to do it. To be honest, yeah, it was a sigh of relief, but it just felt good to be like, okay, this is the hard work, because COVID took a year off from it, and I got it done. Now I feel like I need to do a master class on how to put out
Megan,
an album.
Imagine all the classic songs that never got cleared. Imagine how many songs are out there on somebody's hard drive that never got cleared. Like artists that did songs together that never got cleared.
That's real.
They're real. They have them.
Thing.
They exist, but we'll never hear them. That's crazy.
I had a conversation with DJ Clark Kent once about Brooklyn's Finest. Ooh. And about how that song almost never came out. Imagine not having Brooklyn's Finest. Ooh. Wow. Imagine that.
Just sitting on somebody's hard drive, just sitting there.
Just Brooklyn's Finest. Like, that's like the greatest collab of all time. He said Biggie, Jay did their verses, bounced. The whole project had to be in for mixing and mastering in a few hours. There was no hook. So Clark did the hook and then just hoped and prayed that they liked it. And they did, and it went in. It almost didn't even happen. I'm like, thank God you saved Brooklyn's Finest, Clark Kent. Like,
I take it Biggie's one of your favorite artists. I see him behind you, right?
That is, yes. DJ Enough, shout out to DJ Enough, who is of course used to be Biggie's DJ. I promised him I would give him this. I didn't tell him when. I didn't tell him that when. But at one day I said I'll give it to him.
When you get another one.
Yeah, Megan, watch my Biggie poster. Hold on, watch this.
See, now you done started Buck. Watch where there you go.
Wait, I can't see. Where did it? Oh, wow. See, how do I compete with you though? I can't.
That's an actual event that he was at.
I opened
up. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. That was classic night.
Of course. You probably have so much, like, you probably could a museum.
I got a lot of stuff. I've done a lot.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot too now. How do you deal with these DJs at Hot 97? All the men, all that. How do you go in there and get out the booth? How do you hold your own?
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta hold your own against enough and flex. And them guys coming in, who's just, when you first came in, the initiation must have been crazy, because they must have been like, we ain't letting no female on these turntables outdo us.
Well, honestly, like nobody ever said that to me. And then of course,
loud.
You've got, and of course, I definitely wasn't the first, but with anything, that you do, and especially, as a woman in this industry, it's, you know what you're up against, you know what I'm saying? And it's such an iconic and classic, just place. I remember when I first started, I was looking around like, oh wow, here goes Scratch. Oh, hey, Red Alert.
Yeah,
you're just looking around like, and then you're just like, wait a second. And then obviously Summer Jam is just a completely different animal. I started at Hot in 2015, and then like 2 months later it was my first summer, and I was like, whoa, what is this? There's nothing comparable to that. So that, there's so much history in there, but you have to just, what I always tell people is like, I'm a DJ first and foremost, like, male, female, whatever. I'm a DJ. So it's like, go in there and do my thing and hold my own, which I can. You can't say nothing, and that's how it is. Yeah.
Hey, Reg, like she said, if she's a DJ first, so she was around when we carried those crates around. I don't know how she did that, because them crates were heavy.
So you want to hear something though?
Tell me.
I missed that.
No, you didn't.
It's the crate carrying?
I missed that by like 4 weeks or something crazy. Isn't that crazy? Literally. So when I started DJing, I learned on records, right? Right before, no, so literally with like when the day that I first started, I remember somebody gave me 2 records and I was so heavy-handed, right? I was just like, and it just skipped. I was so heavy-handed, right? And they're like, you could cheat by putting weights on it, but I don't want you to do that. Like, you got to learn,
Right.
Like a few weeks later, like everybody was using Serato.
How are you that?
It had just started. So I was like,
Megan, how are you this good? How are you this good with this much knowledge of music without going through that period? Because to me,
it's all right. Because it's all, so I've been DJ literally half of my life at this point. So it's because of the people that I was around. You're only as good as the people that you're around. So I'm from Virginia, and Virginia is a transplant of a lot of different people. But we had like DJ B, who was from Philly, right? We had, like Mr. Nice, who is, from that area. I think he's originally from Newark, but he's from that area. It's like you have these DJs, very technical DJs, and the first parties that I DJ'd were 25 and up parties, right? So that might not sound, but this is what people don't understand about 25 and up parties. When you're 25 and up, you're really grown. Like if a party is 25 and up, that means this is grown folks' business, right? And so I was like 16 DJing 25 and up parties. And let me tell you how confused I was at first. Like I was like, I remember I would play a song and I'd be like, where did everybody go? They clear the floor. And then in walks like a DJ Mr. Nice, someone who really helped start my career. He played one song and everybody comes back. I'm like, what am I doing? So I spent the first 2 years of my career opening up at 25 and up parties. And so I had to learn music. And it was a lot of music that I didn't know, because you don't know like what's the dreams and nightmares. And when I say that, I mean, you drop dreams and nightmares and everyone's going crazy. You have to have a crazy follow-up. Because I wasn't around like in the 90s, like what is the dreams and nightmares song of like this era? And how do I make sure I follow that up with the correct song? So I had to learn all of that. So that's why I have like super extensive like music knowledge and I've never I didn't mix by looking at screens. I mixed by ear. So they would kick me in the back of my knee and put the volume down on the screen, the light, the light,
right.
Turn the screen off. And so I have to mix. Yeah. So that's how that's the reason. That is the reason. But I did have to carry my equipment, my turntable places, but I kind of would show up to the security guard and be like, can you help me?
I love the new age DJs, but as a DJ, when I see somebody without headphones on, it does something to me.
I can't. Or the sets.
It does something
like
to me.
Why are you doing your sets before you show up? You're supposed to read the crowd.
Yeah, you read the crowd.
Yeah.
And I've seen a DJ do a party without actually touching the turntables, just hitting buttons.
It can be done.
No, I would. Yeah.
I was hosting a party and I was looking and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
He would talk and hit a button.
Yeah.
Talk. Yeah. Hit another one and just song for song.
Megan, you DJed all over the country, and everywhere you go, people don't realize when you go to different parts of the country, your set may change. You may use a different crate. Your crates are different than in New York City than in Houston.
Let me tell you, Houston. Let me tell you.
Tell me about Houston.
I went to a party. Imagine going to a party as a DJ, someone I've been toured the world. I done DJ'd with artists. I done been everywhere. I go to Houston. I walk into a club. I didn't recognize a song for an hour and a half. And the party was popping, and I was like, what is am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, what is this? And I love the music. So I remember I turned on. I got there late. Like I moved. I feel like I drove in late when I moved, and it was like Sunday night. And DJ Michael 5000 Watts was on it. It was a screwed. And so I remember I thought something was wrong with my radio. I'm like, what is happening? And it was for 2 hours. But then I learned so much about the culture. I learned so much about DJ Screw. I mean, the artists in Texas, like, outside of Texas, you might know Slim Thug from his Star Trek days, right? But to Slim Thug, that's not. To Houston, those aren't the Slim records you're playing. And it's just crazy, the classics and the freestyles, like, because a lot of the times, a lot of the early DJ Screw stuff is they would take, it'd be classic like New York beats that you wouldn't, and in Houston, they don't even connect it. They don't connect, Eric B and Rakim's record with Zero has a record called Mo City Dawn. That is the one that you play in Houston. You play Mo City Dawn, Zero. So if you play the instrumental, that's what they're assuming you're about to start playing. Like, it's like,
that's crazy.
It's a whole different world, but it's just been so great, to live in these places and learn. I actually get up, Mr. C a lot calls me a lot because he does a show and he hits me a lot about Houston records that he should be playing. And so I'm like, play this one, play this one, play this one. And it's just expanding from what, because the rest of the world saw still tipping, but still tipping comes from, all the years and stuff that they've been working, for sure.
That's smart. That's great that you're able to do that. A lot of DJs have their own mindset and they're not going to change for nothing. Yeah. You have to, even when I go to a club, like I do a lot of reggae now, but but I'm not Jamaican, but if I go to a Jamaican club, right, I'm listening.
Yes.
What's that? And what's that? And I'm taking it back and I'm playing on the radio like I knew what it was all the time. So I'll take my and make it my own. And Buck knows his shit. No, I just heard my man play that. So I'm playing.
Yeah, you have to. But I am East Coast at heart, and they could hear it in me too when I was, when I was down there. They could tell, like, especially when Jay-Z's birthday come around, or something like that. It's like I'm going, like, I know the joints and I know how to,
Good.
So
good, man.
Being a DJ is a beautiful thing.
When you go to other places, you make sure that you're checking out what the DJ's playing and you stay in tune. So you at the party, but you're also there doing homework.
Yeah, you have to because places have their own, like, Houston's like that. DC. I lived outside of DC for a while when go-go was, for a while before go-go was banned from a lot of the places out there. Like, it was for a while. Baltimore, you have Baltimore club music. Chicago, you have a lot of the Chicago house. You go to the Bay. They have their own sound. For some reason, the Bay and Detroit are cousins. What is that, Buck? Why is the Bay? Why is the Bay? They're so far apart, but the music is similar.
Detroit, it's similar. I didn't know that. Detroit get hyphy too?
I don't think it just seems like their music is like, it seems like they're cousins. Like, you listen to like T Grizzly, and you can hear the Bay influence in that, or even Cash Doll, you can hear the Bay. Big Sean, you can hear the Bay influence. And I don't know, I just wonder why. I don't know why that is. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
But it's interesting, but you got to make sure what it is. The joints when you're going around, for sure.
Megan, we just talked to D Nice a few days ago, and we talked about, of course he's been a DJ, but he talked about times when he went to clubs and there were maybe 5 people in the club. 5 people in there.
Right.
You still gave it 100%. And
that's the hardest parties to DJ.
That's the hardest part. You have to understand, when you walk in clubs, sometimes it's not going to be packed. It's going to be crazy packed. So when that happens, how do you handle that when you walk into a place when it's not what you expect it to be?
So I used to be afraid to talk on the mic. Imagine. I'm okay now. It's a whole different world. But when I first started, and I think, remember I said a lot of it has to do with who you're around. The person who taught me did not just talked with his hands. He did not. Yeah, he didn't talk.
Me. That's me. Reginald,
and then and then the men that I would listen to, they were on the mic saying all kinds of crazy stuff that I could not say. So I'm like, how am I going to learn to say the right things? Like, how like they was talking. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, they were talking dirty. You can't say the stuff they say.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't talk like what is so. I couldn't. I was just too afraid. You couldn't even get me to say last call for alcohol. Like, I was not doing it right. So I learned one day. I was like, they don't know that I don't know what I'm doing. The only person who knows that I don't know what I'm doing is me. So if I pretend like I know what I'm doing, then it's gonna, And so I tried that, and I remember I went into the bathroom before we were leaving, and somebody was in the bathroom talking about me, saying, "Yo, she's nice, but her voice is so annoying." Because as a woman, I was like, put your hands up. Like, you can't, and it doesn't translate. It does not translate. that's why you notice when like Lil Kim, like her talking voice is different from her rapping voice, you know, because you have to talk. So I learned, I was like, all right, noted. I'm like in the bathroom, so I'm like, I'm not going to get out of here until they leave, but noted. And so I learned to not only like, you know, talk from here, but also to have command, right? Command is super important. Like if you say, put your hands up and nobody does anything, you don't, as a DJ, you don't have command. So when you got 5 people, you got to make sure that you're focused on them and what they're doing, and not only playing the records that they want to hear, but communicating with them as well in between the pockets and moving quickly, because if not, they're going to get bored. Like anybody can rock a packed house. That is not until you're rocking those parties where you don't even know where the people from. You got a few, and I like to test out different records. Like I like to not play the same stuff. So I'm going to drop something and I'll be like, and look and let me say, let me talk, let me be like, oh, so y'all trying to play with me? All right. Let me
have something in backup.
Yeah. And then how that reacts. And if I play something a little off, you know, and I see it reacting, I'm like, oh, that's who's in front. All right, we could have fun tonight, you know? So you gotta do that. But it's stressful when you go, if it's raining outside or something and people just didn't feel like, oh, you're like, that was a lot of work.
It's also confidence. Like if you're confident doing it, a crowd could tell if you're not confident behind that microphone. So it's also confidence. If you have a confidence and you talking to them, they'll react.
I've never gotten, I don't even want to say it, knock on wood, I've never gotten booed yet. I've had the no music, though I've never gotten booed yet. I was a little nervous one summer jam once because I couldn't find my and friends. They were like trapped. And so it was like 10:40 at night and everybody had been there all day. And it was like my set, it was Megan Ryte and Friends. And I was ready. Kendrick had just got off. And so I'm following Kendrick. All right. And then so I'm like, as soon as the stage swivels, I have to be ready.
Right.
I looked, none of my friends were there. I'm like, where are they? So I have to stall. I'm like, these people about to be like, we tired. We finna go. Like I had to, but then luckily I see like Slim Thug posters at all. I see Bun B, and I'm like, all right, there they are. But something was going on backstage where they was caught and they couldn't. So I had to like, I played, my first record was Ja Rule. I was like, all right, ladies, where would you know, because I was trying to get people to sing because I was so thrown off, but I was like, oh, girl, if 55,000 people didn't boo you, you'll be all right.
Yeah, and the famous no music. Hey, Reg, as a DJ, if someone kicks the plug or something to go and the music stops, that's the no music part. You know what we do as a DJ? If someone kicks the plug, I turn around and talk to somebody. Or I turn around and out the way. I turn around and get out the way.
Yeah, you gotta leave. You gotta be like, all right, I don't know what happened.
Megan, the album is out right now. We can't wait for you to come up here. We can't wait for you to come up here and DJ in the studio again live, and maybe virtual. Maybe we'll do something on the Zoom or something like that. Have you do a set on the Zoom for us.
Let's figure something out. I've been having trouble during COVID because in an apartment. Neighbors be like, we're stuck in here too. We don't want to hear all that. You know, so I've been having a little trouble with the volume and stuff being in a New York City apartment. So hopefully, you know, this summer or something I can come up there and we can do something fun for sure.
Definitely. Great talking to you. Congratulations on the new album. The new single's out right now. What's the next single gonna be? Do you know the next single? This one flies hot. Or are you trying to choose the next one?
I'm trying to figure it out because I want to shoot a music video for Money Counter. It's just whether or not I can make that happen. Fall Through is another record that I really love with Guap Dad 4000 and Flip De Niro. So just thinking about it. A lot of people love I have a Conway and West Side Gun record that is fire too. So
you got some hitters on
you ain't playing, Megan. You got
to play it.
Do you have a favorite one?
She ain't gonna say that. Too many people listening.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Buck. Thank you for getting me out of that.
Yeah, because she was thinking. She was like, you know what?
I almost said it, but I was like, Red's trying to get me in trouble, and Buck saved me. So,
hey, we'll see you soon. Appreciate you checking in with us. All right, Megan.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
You be good.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bye.